So what do we need for our microbit music jukebox? Well, first of all, we need a microbit. It's got the attached battery pack. We don't supply the batteries, these are AAA batteries here. You need some headphones or a speaker. Importantly, it needs to have the jack like this, so we can connect it to the microbit. And you may not have these at home, but if you do, you can have two crocodile clips as well, so like this. And I'll show you now how to connect the headphones to the microbit. So first of all, I'm just going to put the end of the headphones into shot here. And I'm going to pick up the microbit and show you. So we need to connect the microbit like this. Now, it doesn't go in easily, but we just need to put the crocodile clip in there. And that's, if you can see that, that's the 0 pin on the microbit. Now the other red crocodile clips we're going to put onto the other end. So you can see here you've got the ground, just let it focus, GND or ground pin. So we're just going to pop the crocodile clip in there. You can see as long as it's connecting with the metal, then that will be fine. And then the other end, so from the 0, the black one here, we've got the headphones, so we need to connect it like this to the lower portion of the headphone. The red one, we need to connect to the upper portion of the headphone. This is a bit fiddly. So you can see it's like that. Yep. So now let's try and demonstrate this. I'll put the battery in. I've got some code on here already. So you probably won't be able to hear this through headphones, but I'll try and hold it up to the phone and see what happens. So I've got a code now. If I press button A, it's very, very quiet, so let's just try and connect to something else. Okay, so I've now connected in the same way, I've connected the microbit to a Bluetooth speaker here. So I've got my pre-programmed music on button A. And there we go. Now, not everyone has crocodile clips just laying around the house. So what I've done here is I've connected some tin foil, just normal kitchen foil, in the same way as we did with the crocodile clips. Just make sure it's around the pin 0 and the pin GND or ground. Let's try it out. Cool. Okay, we're going to start coding our music for the microbit using the MakeCode microbit block editor. We go to New Project and we'll give the project a name. Let's call this one Music and click Create. Now our project's loaded up, we can start by getting rid of the On Start and Forever blocks, which we just click on and press delete on the keyboard. And we're going to start by going to the input blocks, clicking on that, and we can drag over on button A pressed because we want to have the microbit play some music when we press button A. So now we've got that block ready, we can go to the music blocks, and we're going to start with something really simple. If you scroll down, you can see there's Start Melody here, and there's a drop-down menu where you can select different melodies and how often they repeat. So I'm going to drag that across, and I'm going to change the melody. There's lots to choose from. I'm going to choose Entertainer, and we're going to have it repeating once. So to test that out, we can go over to the microbit simulator here and click on button A. Now we're going to use the input block again and drag that across to the right hand side. And instead of on button A pressed, we're going to change that so that some music plays when we press button B. But this time we're going to create the music ourselves. So we'll go back to the music block and I'll show you one of the ways that you can do a simple melody. We have on the very top here play melody, and there's various blocks that have different musical tones, and you can set your tempo as well. So I'll drag that across and let's see how we can create a simple melody. Just going to drag this down a little bit so I've got some space to work. So we have the play melody blocks here, and each block represents different musical notes. So I'm just going to do a simple melody which you might recognize. So let's play that. Okay, so that works. So hopefully you recognize that melody as Frere Jacques. So we need to do the next part of the melody now. But for that part, we can't use the play melody blocks, which are very simple to use. But because the next part of the melody, we need to use the A sharp note, which is the note between A and B on a keyboard. And we can't use sharp notes or flat notes within play melody. So let's go back to the music block. And we can use the play tone to play individual notes for a certain number of beats. So we'll start with this and attach it to our line of code. And we need to change this to an A sharp. So as you go along the keyboard, you can see there's A and there's middle A sharp, which is the middle C in the keyboard is here. So you've got middle A sharp. We start with A, and then we can either go to play tone, we'll go to play tone again, drag it across. We actually need 3 notes for this part, so I'm just going to get that prepared so that we can do the next 3 notes. So the first one we said was middle A, and then the next one will be A sharp, which is the next note up on the keyboard. And then we have to do the next note. So we had A sharp. That doesn't sound right. I think it's going to be high C. So these 3 notes repeat again. So instead of just dragging another 3 notes and doing exactly the same, we can take the loop block here, which you can drag across, have that go around these 3. Now I need to slot it underneath here, and we want to repeat it twice, so we put 2 in there, and then we can take these 3 blocks, which are all attached together like that, and we can slot them within the loop. So what should now happen is we'll get our first melody, which was the intro, and then the next 3 notes, which will be repeated 2 times because of our loop. I think what we need to do is look at the beats here. So the high C note, which is the 3rd note of the sequence here, that needs to be a longer note and go for 1, 2 beats. The next part of the melody we're going to code is slightly more complicated. It's a sequence of 6 notes and it repeats twice. So we can first of all start with our loop again, and we'll just slot that in underneath. And as I said, it repeats twice, so we'll put that in. And now, as I said, we need 6 notes, so we go to play tone again. We're going to drag that across, and instead of dragging them across each time, I'm just going to click on it to highlight it. You see it has sort of surrounded by a yellow line, and I'm going to use Control C, Control V, which is the copy and paste command on the keyboard, and slot that in there. You can also, if you wish, right click and duplicate, and just do that several times until you have 6 in total. One more, and we'll just click and drag until we have 6 tones in sequence within our loop of 2. The other one's disappeared down here a bit. We just scroll down and grab it. So there we have the next part, but we need to do the notes now. The first tone is going to be high C. And that's going to be for 1 beat. Now the first 4 notes are quicker, so actually that's going to be for half the beat. And then the next note after that is high D. And again change that to half a beat. The next one is high C again for half a beat. The next one is middle A sharp for half a beat. And then we've got the final 2 notes, middle A and middle F, which is way up here. Sorry, not high F, middle F. So those 2, the last notes, as I said, they're longer. The first 4 notes are shorter. So let's test that out now. Now for the last part of our melody, it's another 3-note sequence which loops twice. So we'll start with the loop block and we'll drag that across and slot it underneath our previous loop. And we need it to repeat twice, so we put a 2 in this box here. And we'll go back to the music blocks and drag across a play tone block and slot that within the loop. Now we can then duplicate and slot that in, and then duplicate and slot in the third one. So this sequence, we have the notes middle F, middle C, and middle F again. So we'll just change that here on the keyboard. Middle F. Middle C is already there for 1 beat. And then the last note is the same as the first, middle F, but that note needs to be for 2 beats. So we select it in the drop down menu there. So middle F for 1 beat, middle C for 1 beat, middle F for 2 beats. Let's test the entire melody and see what it sounds like. Lastly, I'm going to create a simple light show that can be on the microbit LEDs while the music's playing. So we'll go to Basic, and we need to drag across Forever. So the light sequence will just repeat forever. And we'll go to Basic again and Show Icon, drag that across. And we'll copy that twice, right click and duplicate. And just slot them all together. And you can change these icons by clicking on the drop down menu to anything you want. So let's have a look. We've got some musical notes here, so we could have one of those. We'll have a heart for the middle one. Got another musical note here. And that will then show, as you can see on the left hand side, that will show the 3 icons alternating on the LEDs of the microbit. Now we need to download the code and send it to our microbit. So you get a micro USB cable with the microbits that you can borrow from Barnet libraries, and I've plugged in the USB into my laptop and plugged the other end into the microbit. And now that's connected, I can download the code with the download button which appears here. You click on that and start to download the code. You can see it's completed the download here, and it gives you instructions on how to connect the microbit to your laptop or computer. And you need to then move the hex file to the microbit. You can also do this by Bluetooth. If you want to click on here, it will show you how to do that. But if I just download again, you'll see it says show in folder. I'm using a Chromebook, but in Windows, laptops or PCs, you'll also see a show in folder. We'll click on that, and we'll find the downloaded hex file, which is the file type of the microbit code, in downloads. So we just need to click on that and hold down the button, mouse button, and drag it across to the microbit device which is plugged in. You can see it here, and then drop the file. And now you can see it's copying the microbit file to the microbit, and it says complete. And now that code's on the microbit, we can test it out on our music jukebox. So let's test out our code. You can program any tune you want. Or even the tune of your favourite video game.